hospital for, oh, hell, 2 months now, I guess. You know that bill's got to be several $100,000, if not $1 million.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
They'll never dig out from under that. You can't raise enough money on
No,
funding to cover something like that.
even with a huge outpouring,
Yeah.
you're just in a bad spot. That's terrible. And his was again just completely out of nowhere, no planning whatsoever could be made. Wasn't doing anything that would.
Fell off my ladder. Who was it that was asking if we had a,
We're live.
okay, who was it that was asking if we had an idea of our expenditures split between single-family homes and townhomes?
Yeah, I was bringing it up at the last meeting. We talked about
You
it.
had it on a video clip.
Yeah, that's what it
And
was.
then a
Not
couple
last
people
meeting,
asked me, and then I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can't do it.
We don't really,
Yeah.
I mean, I
We
guess
never
I could
have.
make it,
There's a way to somehow try to.
I guess I could make an attempt. I could look at past,
I think what we should do, what I was talking about was, what we should do is we should look at the actual cost of things for the townhome. Like, this is how much it's costing for the landscaping. And that's hard to break out because
you know, landscaping's all together.
it's all together. But we need to make a good effort because I think there's two things to it. One, we're gonna have to go to people and say, we want to get you better services, but the reason we're getting these kind of subpar services that we keep getting is because our budget is so limited. So we've either got to raise dues or cut into the amount of money we're putting into reserves, or a little of both. There's something's got to give, though. I mean, if we've got $10 to buy dinner with, we can't go buy a $15 dinner, no matter how great it may be. So I think that's part of it, is being able to say to people, these are your legitimate costs. This is what it actually costs you to get these services done within the neighborhood. This is what you're currently paying. This is what it really should cost. Like, the landscaping budget probably should be closer to $40,000.
I agree.
So, I mean, that's why we're not getting the services we need, because when we bring people in to give us quotes, they're like, this is $40,000 worth of work, and we're like, can you make it closer to 30? So they cut out a bunch of stuff, and that's where Ellie got caught up. She was trying to get a budget that would work, and she just doesn't have the budget and the funds to get the services we want. Let me just share this video out so that I know people know it's out there and they have access to it real quick.
Yeah, we could play with the reserve a little bit and, I mean, not fund it quite as heavily. I mean, it bothers me long-term. But we probably have, I'd have to take a look at it. We probably got 10 grand that we could move around if we had to.
I think
But over 10 years, that'll put us 100,000 behind on our reserve.
that's what people really, and especially with the possibility that we're going to lose you and your knowledge, getting people to understand that so that carries over. I mean, if the whole board here decided we're done, the next group coming in can't just go, well, we got all this money in the bank, and just start buying services left and right. And that would be real easy for a new board to do, because they wouldn't have the knowledge.
No, they wouldn't.
They'd come in and go,
wouldn't
why are they
understand
holding
that.
out? We've got all this money.
Yeah.
And it's simple stuff like,
Well, if I leave, I'll work with whoever's the incoming treasurer to make sure they understand what's going on. Now, they may look at it differently than I do, but
yeah, and any board coming in, they could do the same thing. They could say, we think there's plenty of money in the reserves. We've looked at it, and there's enough money to fix the major things, and we can do an assessment if we have to, and they just eke on by like most neighborhoods do.
all right.
And
Do we have it scheduled for them to come out and do the conservation area retaining wall study to look at? That was the $50,000 expenditure for this year. I didn't know when that was supposed to get scheduled for.
We have not scheduled that. Who was supposed to do that?
I don't know if we had anybody slated.
I mean, I didn't know if there's someone that's done it in the past, or there's some company. I mean, I can do it. I just have no
We've
idea.
never done it. This has been the first time we ever had somebody inspect it to see. It's really
You
just.
go down there and just throw some rocks at it, and if
See
it
if-
stays up, right?
Then you're fine.
It's
Is
just the
it
big
just-
one down behind my house. Is that the only thing we need to look at?
Is the one in behind some of the folks' houses?
It's right down going into Kilcher and around.
Yeah, it's right down where the
behind-
new construction
behind.
is.
Yeah, it's in between
I guess
Kilchurn and
you have a
Amy
vested
Cafeteria.
interest, don't you? Because if it falls, you go with it, right?
I don't know, because I'm not on the hill. Mine slopes down
If
gradually.
the hill goes, will you eventually make it down there though? guess
My backyard.
all
would.
of us
My
might
house
end up-
wouldn't. My backyard would. My house wouldn't.
Might be that all of us end up in it. It'd be like one of those sinkholes that just keeps pulling the whole
Yeah, the whole
neighborhood.
neighborhood just
All
gets,
sucks in like a cartoon where all the carpet gets pulled in.
that'd be us.
We're like, what? All right, let me steer this over to. How was traffic?
It was awful.
I had a hard time getting
Something
here.
on Polk Street, I went through a light, I sat there twice, 2 rotations, I don't
Oh yeah,
understand.
Polk Street's awful.
It's just
Yeah, it
yeah,
was
all
bad.
the all
Yeah, I
the.
stay
It gets
away
backed
from
up all the way down to the one by our neighborhood. And it just sits there. It's completely backed up
Yeah,
every
I
time.
was stunned, because I was here like, in Pineville area, quarter
Next-
tail, I'm like, yes.
You're like, oh,
Next time, just drive down the suicide lane and then turn right in front of someone.
Yeah, they
You know, I
appreciate
And that's what some
that.
lady in a Land Rover tried to do on her way
Stand
here,
to
and
me.
I'm like, I'm in a 2012 Camry. She's in a brand new Land Rover. I'm gonna win. So she peeled off eventually. She was trying to cut in. I was like, and as I go by, she's stuffing her face with some sort of cream puff thing or something like that, and looking at me all angry. And I'm like, you're trying to cut me off.
A lot of people play bumper cars on Lancaster Highway at 5:45 last Wednesday morning. One guy was driving down Lancaster and another guy was behind him, right, 2 cars right in front of him. And the guy right behind him decided he wasn't going fast enough, so he pulled out, there's no passing, but he did it anyway. Pulled out to go around him, and the guy in front of him said, "The hell with you," so he sped up. So they're racing down there, the bridge is down there at the bottom, and there's cars coming across the bridge. They get to the point where the guy's gotta make a call, so instead of backing off, he just runs into the guy.
Oh no!
Took out his foot, the guy fishtails, and then, so the guy gets in front of him, and the guy that he hit stays right behind him, beeping his, flashing his lights, beeping his horn, all the way up the top of the hill. We get to that light up there, they stop. The guy's sitting in if the guy's in the SUV in front, the guy's sitting there when the light turned green, he just keeps going. I know the guy had to get his license plates, I mean, that's not a good way to start your day, 5:45 in the morning.
Man, people get all hot-headed. Traffic is one of those things we always talk about when we're giving demonstrations of the difference between sociable things and social things. And we're like, a sociable event would be getting together with a bunch of people and having a cocktail and you're standing around talking. We're like, a social event is driving. We're all doing the same thing, but we are not cooperating in any way. We're not working together.
No, that's right.
We are driving these cars. That is it.
At least twice a week when you go. Sometimes I go the 485 and then it goes on to, I guess, further up North Polk, whatever that is.
South Boulevard? Yeah.
South Boulevard.
Turn to South
Oh,
Boulevard.
there's 2 turns, like everybody crashes into each other every morning. They just decided to run into someone that stopped waiting for traffic to go, because as the 2 turn lanes, just run into the back of each other. Like, literally every other day I'm going that way, there's 2 cars pulled over on the side.
It's amazing that we do see a lot of the same spots over and over and over that constantly have car crashes or something like that. And then they start looking at traffic studies, trying to figure out what does it. And a lot of times it's just the human factor. Like there's really no way for us to do it except make the intersection more complicated.
Everything ought to be a traffic circle.
I'm telling you, everybody just continuously circle around all the way to work. Every road a traffic circle and a traffic circle for everyone.
That's the one interesting thing in New Jersey, is they just didn't have to have turns on the main roads. It was always like, you'd have to take a right loop around and then go straight across when you got a traffic light.
And no
Like,
left
you couldn't-
turns.
You couldn't turn left?
Yep, no left turns.
Which I learned that after I missed 2 turns, trying to turn left. I was like, all right, looks like I'm going down another block, doing a U-turn, coming back, doing another one.
Yeah, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 lefts do.
Hey. Yeah, I'll swing by. The guy that's digging the fence that she was talking about, he hired a contractor that's doing pavers to do a back patio area. And then because it's a mud pit right now, they were extending their drain route that went down underground and then out. So I mean, it should be done properly. Hire a contractor to do it, but I'll swing by and make sure it's not anything
Is
ridiculous.
this the new one we just approved?
That's one from the 26th that she
Oh,
brought
okay.
up, that he was gonna extend the pipe under the fence that goes toward the main road. A good number of those backyards are just mud pits, they don't do anything to them, just the way they
The way they
dug
left.
them out, and then they.
Anything's a mud pit right now. I've got one of the best drain yards in the neighborhood. Mine's soaked.
Yeah.
Mine's squishy.
Did I miss any action items?
Yeah.
We haven't actually started anything.
Oh, okay,
We were
awesome.
kind of.
We were waiting, there's like 4 of us, so.
Yeah, I was getting this set up and we were waiting for you and get you, we were just getting a little extra time.
So, I guess your guys' accounting system just crashed and burned?
I don't understand what's going on with it, but I know someone tried to fix it.
Right? Didn't work.
No, it made things so awful and bad. For instance, Stacy probably would be thrilled with me that I shared this with you, but the delinquencies just automatically just doubled. So if you put 2,000, it was like 4,000.
Oh, I bet that went over well.
And then the delinquency was like 6 pages, and I'm like, what?
That can't be right.
I'm like, that's so no. Something is definitely skewed. He was like, okay, I want to make sure that they know that all their money is safe. All the accounts, all the money's still there.
That's what we're concerned about.
It's just something in this VMS thing that they've got to go through. They're essentially going to kind of wipe everything that was put in there, and they're going to start from scratch for you guys. We just need an expert to do it.
Yeah, would you remind them that we had 700,000 in our reserve account?
I will do that. I will make sure Daisy knows that.
Yeah, where's our million? We had a clean million. All right,
I did print this off in case you needed copies for today.
I printed it too and then left it at the office.
Okay, well, here you go. If I put my,
I think you're okay. Yeah, you can put it there. I can.
I think it'll block it, so it's fine. It's in my lap.
It's not so desperate, but it needs to be in a specific. Oh,
That way
I can't get out. I can't get.
yeah. We should have told her. We can tell if she's live or if she's actually watching or not.
Is Ellie gonna watch it? Is that
Ellie just said she wasn't coming on. She watched it, probably not.
Because they may have had their numbers mixed up.
Who? Ellie?
Virginia was the first one. Ellie was the last minute one.
Oh, yep, I have their numbers mixed up. I'll fix that then. Okay.
So is one note, can we, yeah, I can see it. Yes, I can. Yes, and yes. So people are, somebody's watching live and they were asking, can we ask questions here? So yes, and I'll try to work them in as we go here.
Oh, yeah, it's on your other phone?
Yeah, I've got it so I can actually see what's going on with it, so I can make sure the sound's in. Yep, okay. So, we started a little bit late just because Virginia and Ellie can't be here. They wouldn't be here, so it's no big deal. We have several guests present tonight. Thank you for coming, and we'll try to shoot through this stuff. And for anybody who's watching online, yes, you can ask questions if you like. We'll do our very best to answer them, or at least put them as things we'll look into. We'll talk about the budget first.
Yeah, we can. As I said in the email I sent you guys, it's difficult to get a handle on a budget this early in the year and how you're performing, because so many of your costs are seasonal. So you don't have an average, you should be right on budget every 2 months or something like that. But that being said, looking at the budget through February, which is just a 2-month budget, the only items of concern are ones that I'm going to keep an eye on until we get a little bit more depth behind them. It looks like our landscaping contract, which should be running about $29,654 for the year, is on track to run about $31,500, so about $2,000 over. We're paying $26.29 a month, and that's what we've been paying for 3 months. We've got 3 months worth of payments in there. So I want to check on that one with Ellie and confirm what our contract should be. And the other one is trash removal. We had budgeted $7,000, but we're on schedule to probably pay about 10. I think that's just the way it's going to be. I think to get trash service, the huge trash debacle that we've had, I think we're probably going to end up a little over budget just to be able to get the trash service we want. Would you agree with that, Rob, or do we still have the same agreement with?
Yeah,
They
so
were finished their studies. They were doing that month.
yeah, so he did talking about value waste now.
Right.
Value waste came in, and initially they were asking us for somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,400 a month to do the trash haulaway. Obviously, that's well above around $600 a month we were talking about. And this is specifically talking about the trash for the townhomes. I told him we wanted to have him as our service provider. We really appreciated the fact that he had stepped in the way he had a couple times there, but those numbers were so high we needed a much better price if that was going to happen. And he said, okay, give me a couple weeks. We'll bill you at the same rate we were at with Carolina. Give me a couple weeks to see what the real trash flow looks like and how things go, and we can then we'll reassess. So he came back a couple weeks later and he said, looking at about $900 a month.
Looks like about what it is. Yeah. Okay.
So $300 up from ours, and The trash service seems to have improved. We've got several town homeowners here, so I'm getting nods of yes. So
Well, then it's worth the money. And we assumed.
that's a
when we-
service that's where it should be.
Right, we assumed when we set that budget at the beginning of the year that we were gonna have to make some adjustments mid-year for that, so I think I'm okay with that one. The only other issue I have is we appear to be behind on our assessments. This time last year, we were at about $41,000 for 2 months, January and February. And this year, we're only at 35,000, that's why I wanted to see the delinquency report. But I wanna track that one down too, until we see the delinquency report, I won't know. We should be $6,000 or $7,000. I mean, we didn't raise our dues so much, or fees so much that we should see a significant jump, but we should be still right around that $40,000 range for assessments through 2 months, because we should have all the January assessments in, and we should have 1 month of the townhomes coming in for February as well. So I want to track that down in a little more detail when we get access to the financial records that we don't have full access to right now.
Can we real quickly explain again? I know we were kind of talking a little bit about what's going on with that in the very simple terms. Somebody's gonna say, "What do you mean? Why don't we have financial records?"
Okay, well,
Well, you have financial records. What the issue is, it's with the assessments and the way that they were put into the system. All I know, I wish I could speak a little more technically about it, it is a software issue with EMS, and it's something that they were working on. That's all I know. So the only thing that's gonna mess you guys up are the assessments and the delinquencies.
Our money's there, so
Yeah, your money is all
as
there.
far as the delinquency, we will find you
Well,
eventually.
and as I said, normally 2 months into the year, we don't really get a good picture of where we're heading with the budget. We really need 4 or 5 months under the bridge before we can really tell how our budget's gonna perform. But overall, I don't see any items, with the exception of those two. Trash, I think, is what it is. The landscape contract, I do wanna look into that a little bit more. But besides that, I think we're in good shape budget-wise. I will probably come to the board, either, we won't have a meeting in April, will we? So I will probably come to the board in our next meeting, which is probably May, and ask to have the $70,000 transferred out of working capital into our reserve fund, which is what we should be scheduled to put in. We normally don't do that at the beginning of the year, because you want to leave enough cash in there to be able to operate until you get more revenue coming in for your assessments. But we will probably go ahead and I'll ask the board to move the 70,000 out of operating capital into our reserve fund, so that we're on our beginning of year target, which was $398,000. And then we should be back on our end of year target of $415,000. I'm sorry. Yeah, $415,000 when we come to the end of the year, if we do our $53,000 of expenditures this year. We don't, and although I think we probably are going to do some expenditures out of reserves for repairs on the town. At least
That's the hope.
yeah, that's the hope. But anyway, that's the budget. If anybody's got questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, address them, or find out what the answer is if I don't have it.
So let's talk about what came up in a video I put out. Eric's asked about it. We've had multiple inquiries from town owners. So we'll officially kind of talk about, we've always merged the townhome, single family, because it's very hard to split out. And I think that's something people need to understand. First of all, we have a single landscaping contract for the entire neighborhood, and that incorporates everything that we do at the townhomes, which is the majority of that contract, and then some common area stuff around the neighborhood. And what I was talking about was trying to show people what the actual costs are, because the question, why can't we get this done? Why are the services the way they are? Eric's having the same thing, we're hearing the same thing from within the community. So as far as, I mean, obviously that's a daunting task. How difficult is it for us to try to at least split those services out, so we can just identify what it's actually costing to do things at the townhomes?
I can, for those accounts that are general accounts, like landscaping, or like electricity, or like the pool, I can allocate those out by residence. So I'll get 250 for single-family homes and however many townhomes. So I can split those general like that. For landscaping, that wouldn't be an equal split, or it wouldn't be an adequate split, because more of the landscaping is spent on the townhomes, but I don't know another way to do the general accounts, other than just do it by number of residents. And then for those like maintenance and other things, we can track through the line items in the expenditures and determine how much we're spending on townhomes, that type of thing. But other than just splitting it by number of residents, I don't know how else to do, like, something like landscaping or the pool or anything like that. And those, when you look at it, are three biggest expenditures are landscaping contract, and those are all way to split.
Yeah, it's a little bit, that's why I say I know it's a daunting proposal, but I think if we can find a way to give people some idea, and, like we were saying before we officially started the meeting, being able to say to somebody, the reason, your to get a good quality person in here to do landscaping, or to get a good quality service in here, for instance, the trash, which we now know, to get a good quality service, it's $900.
Right.
Yeah, we know how much it costs now, and to be able to say, low ball offering where somebody comes through and mows the grass is here, mid-level is here, and if you want the best of the best, we need to be here, so that people can understand it, because the common thing I hear from people, and I hear it all the time, is my relative, friend, neighbor, whoever, somebody I know, lives in this neighborhood over here, and they have amazing tennis courts and a swimming pool, and they live like movie stars, and I don't understand why we can't. They pay as much, and I try to explain to people that it's the number of homes you have in the neighborhood, because every home in this neighborhood equals, if you just take how much you pay and just multiply it, you can quickly figure out how much money we've got available to us, so if you've got 1,000 homes in their neighborhood, they're going to have access to more money than we do. And these different breakdowns. And one of the things that people have to understand is when the builder builds a neighborhood up, they price it at the lowest dollar amount, because we took over the neighborhood after it had been, what year did we take it over again? Remind me.
2012.
2012, yeah, that seems about right. So when we took the neighborhood over, the neighborhood had actually been in existence for about 5 years. And the builder left us with, if I remember correctly, around $50,000 in reserves.
45,000 and change.
So they were taking in just barely pennies on the dollar of what they should, because they want to make it as appealing as possible. When you move in, you want to see these low numbers for HOA fees in comparison to the neighborhoods around you who've already had to raise their fees to get to where they are. So we're struggling because, like we were saying right before we started, we're going to either need to raise dues or contribute less to the reserves. Or a combination thereof, or whatever, and making sure that people understand where that's coming from, so that we can explain, why we don't have enough money to do the things we're doing. And we've got multiple things at play there. We've got people who are on fixed incomes in the neighborhood, so it's difficult every time we raise dues. That's more money out of their fixed income. We've got contributing factors like the bills are going up for everybody, and they go up for the HOA. We've got long-term repairs that we're trying to talk. I think what you pointed out earlier, a number when we said if we slash $10,000.
Yeah, we could take 10,000 out of our reserve contribution and short ourselves. So instead of putting 60 to 70 in reserves every year, we could put 50. And so we'd have 10 grand more to spend on landscaping. Instead of spending $30,000 on landscaping and get the bottom end, we could spend 40,000 and probably get the middle range, as opposed to 50,000 and get the premium service.
And that sets us back somewhere. I know you threw out a quick number.
Over 10 years, we'd be $100,000 behind on our reserve contributions, and that's not that big a deal. Honestly, I think we could deal with that if we wanted to. $100,000 when you figure, okay, we have 500,000 instead of 600,000 in reserve. Yeah, I still think that's pretty good.
So that's something we can try to assess as a board and try to set up and we're always cognizant of that every year we set a plan in motion that may not exist beyond that year, or 2 years from now we can change it again. So we try to put good, slow-moving plans into place that are going to be lasting, and the next board will go, yeah, that's a good idea, let's keep going with it. So I think that's kind of the big issue we wanted to kind of address on the budgetary stuff, because it has come up, and we are thinking about it. We're just trying to figure out how to implement it and put it out there, because we'd like to be able to give people numbers that make sense. Anything else budget-wise?
That's all I have. I'll make a first cut at that, splitting it out. And I'll try to make some assessment on the landscape contract, how much gets townhome, and I'll just guess it, 60 to 40 or something like that. But I'll try to make a first cut on those townhomes. What I can do is I can go back, because our original budget did have some line items split out by townhomes 5 years ago. So I'll go back and maybe look at some of the percentages there.
Isn't a good amount of that goes to the reserve set aside for the townhomes too?
Yeah,
Because it's
most
for
of the
roof repairs
reserves,
and all that
yeah,
stuff,
I mean,
so-
that's easy to do. I can look through the
Yeah.
reserve study and determine all the expenditures out of reserves and see which one of those are for townhomes and which one of those are for the general
But
account.
that's probably gonna be a bigger breakdown than even the.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we take in $258,000 every year in assessments, and we put $80,000 of that, or $70,000 of that into reserve every year.
That's good information to put out there. I think what we can do is if you put something like that together, I can make that in.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Probably not gonna see Sydney doing a video explaining them.
Probably
Make
not
sure,
gonna happen.
it works out better anyways, because once I can understand it with crayon.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right, so that's where we are with budget stuff. Landscaping, Ellie's not here tonight. She's generally handling landscaping. We are well aware that the landscaping is not where it should be. We're not pleased as a board. I don't think I have any problem whatsoever saying we're not pleased as a board. We, yeah, I don't know where it's gonna be. I know Ellie says that she has a new contract. Did she send that over? She was looking at another company?
She did, yeah. Their quote was right at 40,000, 38,500.
So there we
So
go.
that's what it looks like to me. 29,000 buys us bare bones. This is what you get. Grass mowed, trimmed, maybe a couple flowers and some pine straw, and that's it. Looks like 40,000 is gonna get us into that range where it looks like the neighborhood wants to be. We could certainly spend more than that and get premium service, but I don't know that it would add much to our property values.
I had one specific thing that came in on the townhome group, on our Facebook page. He was pointing out that the landscaping crew left grass clippings all over the sidewalks in the townhome before the rain. Now it's pretty nasty. Will they be coming back early this week to finish? And he says, then he took some pictures and he added, he says, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but every time I take our dog out to walk, she drags in a mess. He's also pointing out this isn't a rare occasion with landscaping crew. They do it every time. And the frustrating thing about it is we do pay them to mow the grass and they blow the clippings and stuff away. So if we're paying them to do these things, that's where as a board we're frustrated because we like fire and forget type things. We like to have a contractor come in. For instance, we hired. What's the name of the company? Can you remember the name of the company I paid to? Was it Aquatic? That's it. Not to be confused with Aquatech.
Right.
We hired Aquatic, who built the pergola for us for free because Jason lives in our neighborhood and he wanted to do something for his neighborhood, so he donated the man hours and everything from his crew to build the pergola for us for free. When we put the pool back in, we just paid for the materials. We could not get a better deal than that. Obviously, the labor would have cost us the most. So Jason, his company does restoration of fiberglass, stuff like that. So I asked him, hey, can you take care of the mushrooms? Now, he hounded me last year trying to get it set up so he could. I couldn't get Aquatech on board fast enough to get things done. The weather changed. He got busy. So this year he hit me up and said, hey, do you still want the pool mushrooms redone? And I was like, yes. So we got the pool water lowered. His crew was up there. I barely knew they were even doing anything. Next thing I know, the mushrooms were beautiful. That's the kind of services we like. That's whatever you pay somebody to do something, they do it, and then they hit you up with a bill. And I joke with Jason, like, we may pay you, may not. It's not enough that will sue us. So, what can you do about it? But we may need Jason, so we'll pay him. So we'll take care of him. But and he didn't even hit us with a hard price or anything. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for, and that's what we expect as a board. Because when we hire a landscaping crew, I don't want to hear about the landscaping all the time. And Ashley doesn't want to either.
We struggle to find quality lands. Was this our third or second?
I don't even know anymore. I've lost track.
We have not been able to find good quality landscaping.
We've tried to bring them in and talk with them. We've tried to reassess. We've tried to, and it really, I think it is just coming down to we're not paying enough.
I think it gets to the point where we're just not willing to pay what it takes to get the quality that we want.
So we have to come back to that.
I think the current crew still doesn't have the people or the experience to do it. They're still trying to hire on new guys. They started with 40 people, and there's no way they got people that are out there knowing and blowing and knowing exactly what they're supposed to be doing every time.
think they would like to provide better service. They just aren't functionally capable. For them, this was a pretty nice contract to get, but I mean, we can't take the hit just because we want to help out a smaller business. It's just too much. So we're not happy with landscaping. We're well aware of the problems. I'll message that individual back later just to let them know, hey, we did address it tonight and talk about it. So we're gonna look at a new landscaping company again.
Yeah, we'll just need to address that mid-year in a budget update, I think. Just if we need to go to another contract, we need to up the contract, we'll have to shuffle those reserve funds to take care of that. So, we've got the room to do it. One of the things we have done over the last 5 years is we put enough in reserves to where if we have a catastrophe, we're not in bad shape. We don't have to go out and do a special assessment for $200,000 because all the roofs fell off all the town halls all at one time. So we've got a little bit of buffer there. And we're on plan, so we're not ahead of plan, but we do have enough money in there where we need to do something small like this, an extra $10,000 or $15,000. I don't think it's outside of our capabilities to do this.
I know in the past, one of the things that came up, I would always use the townhome roofs. But it seems like we always go to that. We're like, well, if the townhome roofs fly off, and somebody pointed out, well, if the townhome roofs had something major happen, wouldn't we just bring in an insurance company and the insurance company replace it? Yeah, and it actually probably be to some degree a good deal. But insurance obviously comes back and gets us later. One of the things we have to remember, though, is some of this stuff just fails naturally over time, and the townhome roofs, for instance, have been a bane of our existence since we've had them. They're always having leak issues of some sort. We have put so much money into going ahead and having to fix those roofs where they just did a poor job on them. So, some things that they just start to fail sooner than we expected. You buy a new car, you think it's going to last 10 years, it gets you 5 years, and the engine blows up. You can't go to the insurance company and say, my engine blew up. And we've got that with the pump could fail at the pump out, or at the pool all of a sudden, or something major.
The retaining wall could
Yep.
slide in and have the neighbor drop down.
Suck Eric's house into it, and we're gonna be like, hey, that was your fault for having too heavy of a house. You put too much furniture in it or something. I've already got my plan for that, so we're ready to go. So we're good on that. As far as landscaping, though, that's our goal is to do better with the landscaping. Bring that company in. Are we anywhere with the insurance company stuff?
Oh, yeah, I sent you an email today.
Did not read it yet.
Okay, not a big deal. I have, according to Beverly, she's priced it out. A couple of the brokers said that they do not have a price that would be nationwide right now. She's reaching out to another company, and then I also reached out to Paul Fleming, and I'm waiting to get back from him. I sent him a loss run report on Friday, so he should be coming down making a visit to see the property.
So what we're trying to do, and that's why I was asking about it, we're trying to reassess what we're paying for in our insurance, which is an astronomical amount. What is it again?
18,000 a year or something like that.
It's a chunk.
Yeah, it's about 18 grand a year.
And honestly, we don't know enough about the industry. I mean, for somebody to come back and say, can't find anybody else who can meet this company, well, we're also considering the fact that she may get most of her kickbacks from Nationwide. So we're shopping another, I guess she's an agent, right?
Correct, yes.
So she's an insurance agent. So for all you insurance agents out there who might have something to do with homeowners associations, probably reach out. But we're trying to shop around and see if we can find better insurance, because that would save us some money, hopefully. Nationwide's trying to get back all the money. Is it Nationwide? State Farm for some reason. Nationwide's trying to get back the money that they've had to pay out in some different things that we've had come up.
We are no longer named in a lawsuit, are we? So,
No. What was the thing we got today? I emailed you back and I didn't get a chance to
The
follow.
only reason the HOA, you or me, okay? The only reason
Sorry
the
about that.
HOA was put in there is because you have only one property.
Ah,
That's
okay,
it.
that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so there was a foreclosure that came through and we're naming that, but that's pretty standard, right? They're just kind
Correct.
of lawsuit. So yeah, we are no longer a part of in case anybody missed that the last time, a lawsuit.
we are not a defendant in a lawsuit.
Correct, we're good, we're good. Foreclosures notwithstanding. Let's see, so we got landscaping out of the way. Let's talk about the pool real quickly. The pool season is coming up very soon, and I will soon be beating my head against the wall trying to figure out why everybody ate their pool fobs over the last season. So start finding your pool fobs now would be nice. If anybody can spread that word, maybe I'll put out a little message. Find your pool fobs now so we can start finding out early that you need a new pool fob. You will have to pay for those this year. There's no free pool fobs anymore. We've gone too deep into the free pool fob budget. What's
Yeah.
that, free pool pops?
Yeah.
Yeah, for new people coming into the neighborhood, when they first bought a home and they moved into the neighborhood, everybody was issued a pool fob, and then every home should have that going forward. So from now on, all I can tell people is if you bought a home and it did not come with a pool fob, you need to go back after whoever it is sold you the home and find out where your pool fob is, because that's, what, I think they're $20.
22,000
25.
insurance, I'm sorry.
What's that, man?
No, it was 25.
Is it 25?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we thought we lost ours, but I mean, it was our first time that we had this home and I got charged. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. Did you lose one, or and you couldn't find it, or did you just never had it from the beginning when you moved in?
No, we had it from the beginning and
Yeah.
Delvin Robinson
You
charged.
lost it. Do you still have it? Did you find it again?
We ended up finding it.
Did we reactivate it for you? Test it at some point, get with me, and let me know, and shoot me a message, and be like, hey Rob, we tried it, it won't work.
Yeah.
Technically, I think your pool fobs will work right now if you go out and test them.
Mhm.
And that's supposed to be the pool area, but you're welcome to go out and scan. If it doesn't work, let me know, I'll turn it back on for you.
I was incorrect on the insurance, it's 22,800.
I thought it was
Insurance
insurance
expense.
expensive. 22. So the pool season's coming. We're gonna get the pool fobs going. Work through that. Internet should be good up there. The phone's probably not turned on right now. We'll make sure the phone's turned on. Aquatech. So let's talk about Aquatech really quickly. I had a talk with I don't even know what his rank is at the place anymore, but the guy who's like the second in charge of Aquatech now, Mike, has slowly eked up over the years and moved up from being, I think he was originally our area manager back in the day, and he's worked his way up. And Mike is really tuned in with, he wants good customer service. That has always been Mike's thing. The service problems we've always run into are in the lower levels. They hire people who are going to work for the summer. So you get college kids, you get school-aged high schoolers for your lifeguards, and you get some retirees and stuff like that. And they struggle to hire good people, obviously, just like anybody else out there these days. The economy's in pretty good shape, so nobody wants to work. So they struggle to get good work in, or good helpers. And then they try to promote the good ones, the really good ones up. Our current area manager it was his first year being the area manager last year, and he struggled so hard with that position that I called his boss and said, we're going to fire you because of him. And he actually is the reason that they lost, would they have to pay $2,400, I think it was, in fines to DHEC. And one of the things I pointed out was, now that DHEC has come through and found a deficiency and we've been fined and everything, I'm sure they're going to be watching us extra hard this season. That's what I would do. I'm going to watch the area where there's been a problem. So I was like, we can't mess up this year, and it's hard for me to bring a new company in knowing that they're going to be under the microscope for their first year with us. So we're gambling a little bit here. Aquatech's going to stay on for this year. I was supposed to meet with our area manager and Mike from Aquatech, who's the second in charge. I'm supposed to meet with him and AJ, who's our area manager, and sit down and have seriously, if you screw up, I'm going to call Mike directly and I'm going to tell him, we don't want him as our area manager. I don't care if you fire the kid or not. He cannot be our area manager. So we're at that point, and I hate to be very, very specific with somebody, but we had a lot of problems last year. We're going to make sure we've defined out exactly what the, what do we use? Not a lifeguard, we use an attendant. We're going to make sure we define exactly what the attendant is going to do, and then we're going to make sure that information is out there for the community so everybody knows this is what the attendant does and doesn't do. Post that up there on the board so when you walk in, if they're supposed to be doing a thing and they haven't done it. One of the things was cleaning the pool, and I got very upset last year because the tiles were developing the scum all around the edges, and that was like the big thing when we got that pool built. I was like, just don't let the tiles get scummy. The chemicals were off multiple times last year. You should not walk in and smell a lot of chlorine. If you walk in and you smell a lot of chlorine, for anybody to know, you walk into the local pool and you're like, you can tell they clean because they smell like chlorine. That's urine being dissolved and destroyed by the chlorine molecules. It's not good. It means that there's a lot of activity going on within the pool and on a chemical level that's getting rid of it. So, you don't want that. So, we had a lot of problems with scummy, filmy buildup in the pool. It's just disgusting last year. So that will not happen this year. Mushrooms got redone, as I said, and then probably good for the pool house this year. It probably needs to be pressure washed. That's about it. So we'll get that cleaned up and everything just to make sure we're good. I think the bathrooms are
Did
getting
that
good.
get done when they were doing townhomes?
They did get pressure washed with the townhomes, so I'm sure we'll come back through and do the townhomes. That'll be it as far as, I think the paint's still good on it. The interior bathrooms might need to be done.
Yeah, we budgeted $4,000 for pool projects this year, in addition to the pool, budget, so.
Not gonna be looking at new furniture yet this year. Last year, we managed to get our hands on some, secondhand furniture that we're hoping to get us through another couple of years or so. We can go back and look at having stuff restrapped and things like that to extend the life of the furniture. But for now, it's just not the budget. We just can't afford it. And you're looking at, I don't know, we were kind of rough guessing with the type of furniture we have up there and the number of tables we want and everything. You're looking at a $30,000 to $50,000 expenditure to put pool furniture like we would want to put up there. So we don't want to buy some junk that's going to get broken down in another year. So that's pretty much everything pool-wise that I can think of. I wasn't watching this question, so I'll take a look at that. And Eric, you want to talk about architectural?
Sure. Inspections got finalized on Sunday, so it's pretty standard as what we saw last time. It's a lot less issues, but it's the same type of ones. There's 30-some homes that aren't storing their trash cans properly, so they're getting noticed. And for anyone watching or looks online, you will be receiving fines. So the last one was, hey, get your stuff in order. You are accruing fines starting in this assessment, so you still have your trash can in front of your garage for a year plus, figure out a way to get it behind your house or put a blind up. Get approval, because we've seen some random blinds that right now it's quite the variety of blinds. Make sure you're getting approval for anything you're putting up. Not too much with the junk in the yards, couple trailers. Pretty standard, nothing too crazy. Maybe 50, 60 total versus last time I think it was like 150. So most people fixed the issue from the previous time. There's some that haven't. There's some that still need pressure washing, but the pressure washing we're down to from probably 50 plus houses to less than 10. So it's much improved. So thank you to the community for that. But it's pretty straightforward stuff. Most of this is stuff that's easily fixed and not getting fined. So it's just a matter of going out, responding to your letter, fixing your thing, and not getting fined for it.
What about the townhomes? You know, we talked about looking at some of the problems over there.
The townhomes in terms of storing stuff in front. So there are a couple townhomes that are storing trash cans, recycle bins outside in front of their houses, which is not supposed to be there. So those will be getting the notices. You just have to store in the back what you're supposed to and figure out a way to get it out of sight like everybody else does.
Some of you guys have questions regarding those? Now would be a good time to start throwing things at Eric if you need to.
Did you inspect for the painting?
That's not come up yet. No, that's part of that $50,000 that's set aside that we're gonna work on with
The town hall painting is separate. That's coming out of the reserve.
Yeah,
this year.
that is out of our
Yeah.
general reserve account.
So no one in the townhomes will be assessed for exterior things like paint or any issues that come up that the HOA is responsible for fixing. So it's not like you're getting a letter saying, hey, you're getting fined for something that you aren't responsible for fixing. So it's just pretty much townhome is just if you have like bicycles or trash cans that you have stored in front of your house or something that shouldn't be there, that just piles of trash that no one wants to look at.
Because with that recycle bin, I keep mine actually in the house. And so it has rained so much, I couldn't bring it in.
Yeah.
Because I have to dry it down and
Yeah.
mine is still out there because it's been raining. And I have to wash it now because the birds had a field day. Yes, and it actually stores in my kitchen, so I have to make sure it's.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there really weren't many. There was only a couple out there.
Yeah, mine
It might have
was
been one of yours, and that's
Yeah.
and literally all you do. You get the letter, you just send it back saying, "Hey, it was rainy. I left it out there. It's not out there anymore," and it gets marked off the list. So
I think with most of the ones that we noticed out there were I mean, it was clear that they just left it laying out there. They didn't make any effort to even like put it up by the, put it out on the way. It's kind of obvious that that's where they leave it all the time. And we had some specific complaints come in saying, hey, there's people who just leave their stuff sitting out by the curb all week long, and it's starting to look junky. And we had said we were going to give some time for people to get kind of used to this process. I feel like we had done that. Plus, we had to get through all the trash debacles of 2018.
We have $32,576 are scheduled to come out of reserves this year for the townhomes, walls, trims, paint, finishes.
So what we got to do is get some companies in there, and that's one of the things we were trying to work on, but I don't think it got done yet.
So I had messaged you about the parking, the visitors parking that's right there on Broughton. And I'm really not trying to be petty, but it just becomes an issue when, you have, especially more so for renters, and they move in, and the family that moves in has like 4 vehicles, and so they're taking up their 2 spaces, plus 2 other visitors, and then plus, whoever comes visit them. And we only have 4 right there on Broughton, but if you go a little bit further up, it's like all those parking spaces, which on a day-to-day, not a big issue. Whatever, you park wherever, you do whatever. What my issue is when, A, you're taking up a visitor's parking spot and the vehicle is not moving. So I don't know if someone went out of town and it was like, hey, you can leave your car at my house, I'll watch it for you. Or I don't know, maybe if this wasn't work, I don't know what the issue was with this one vehicle, like, line was there for about a month and a half without moving at all. And then also on the weekend, my thought process is, if you're gonna be there, more than 24 hours, park at the long-term parking, which is where you have majority of the visitors' parking spots, as opposed to the, just the 4 that are there when you're staying like the entire weekend. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know, I just think that there kind of needs to be something like put in place. It's so small, I know, but when you're kind of the one who's having to deal with it, then that's when it comes to irritate.
Well, I think it's a fair argument. I don't think it's petty at all. So I don't want you to feel like you think you're being petty by mentioning it. I think anybody who lives over there who has to struggle to find a parking space every day because their friends come to visit and you're like, I don't know where you can park because everybody lives in these parking spaces like they're their personal spots. I don't think it's being petty at all. I think it's completely legitimate. I think that the people who are doing it are just, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, you have 2 spots, right?
Yeah.
And then you got a few, parking spots, and I get it too that they say, well, I've got my car, my wife's car, and now I got my 16-year-old's car. Like, I totally understand that I didn't buy your house and I didn't make your plan for you, so I don't know what the answer is for you. The struggle we do find is trying to find a way to deal with it. We could implement a towing policy of some sort, but there are, no joke, there are a lot of pitfalls to towing vehicles. Yeah, it's perfect wording, fraught with peril. Legally, we run into all kinds of stuff with having to, even if we're not wrong, we're having to defend ourselves all the time on towing. We could go to we could go to a parking pass type deal where we can issue stickers out that go on people's vehicles that would show that you're a resident, and then everybody would have 2 stickers per home, and we could start that process. But we also understand that's going to be something you're going to have to, there's 2 sides to it. Because it'd be frustrating the first time that somebody comes along and gets you, and I needed to park there for 5 minutes while I was like, well.
And that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's
Like,
tough.
I'm not trying to like get down into the weeds
No,
of it.
yeah.
Like, oh, you can't get here. I'm just saying, if 2 things. If you are going to be parked here long term, park on the other side of Broughton where it's like 10 visitor parking spot. That's one. If you know that you are going to be staying the weekend at somebody's house and you're not going to be driving your car who's visiting, park over on that side. That's all I'm saying. It's just like, it's
Common
to me,
courtesy.
it's common sense.
It's common
what I'm
courtesy,
saying?
yeah.
It's just like common courtesy. It's just like,
It's like normal courtesy of, hey, look, you've got 2 parking spots. Don't take up a visitor spot and live in it. That is
Right,
where
that's
the
what I'm
trash,
saying.
where the trash used to be, we could put a few more visitors parking spots in there if we wanted to.
I mean, that could be a project that we look at, so she's talking about, yeah, I mean, you've
You
got,
have to knock out the curb if you do it though, you have to go fit them back there where the,
yeah, it's only
wherever
got
the dumpster,
two
fit like
right
one
now.
car there.
You can fit two.
Yeah, that's already been designated like that, yeah.
Oh,
that
has
hasn't- They're not numbered or lettered or anything. We were supposed to get Tim out there at some point to letter them. I don't know if he's had time, so we're not out there to do visitor spots. They were gonna clean them. At one point, he said he didn't have an address to hook up to, but I definitely got him an address.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've been done or not. It might be done.
I don't think there's a line on it, not what we were
Not
last
really.
week.
Yeah, he was gonna number them. They were gonna put.
Long term, only needs overflow parking.
Yeah, but
We've
and
got a
that's
lot
what
of
I'm
space
saying,
for
it's like what, like 8, 10 parking visitors, like well, on the other end, and that's all I'm saying, it's like, you know, come on, people, like, just have common courtesy, you know.
Park down there and walk.
You know, if you being booed up over the weekend, like, just, you know, like, you're not moving your car, y'all go Netflix and chill, that's cool.
It's true. It's
Like,
just,
just,
yeah.
you know, that's all I'm saying, and for those who are coming in, who are renting, if they are coming in, you know, this is just something, I don't know if you all talk to the realtors who sell or rent or whatever. Like, hey, you know, like if you have a family and everybody in that family has a car, just know you only have 2 designated parking spots for you, you know? So it's just like,
Might be one of those things where we could look at doing a combination of, we were already talking about sending out some postcards to cover a couple different things anyways that need to be done. There's like a general problem instead of doing fines and assessments and sending out notices. So we could look at doing some sort of a mailing specifically to the townhomes, and then in addition to that, it might be something where we need to do some sort of signage over there. I hate putting up a ton of signs, because I also don't want to hit your
Yeah.
area with signs, but it might be necessary to put some sort of signage up that gives people, a lot of people just, maybe they just don't think about it, I guess. I don't see how you couldn't. But I mean, it's not your parking spot, it's marked visitor, and you're living in it. I agree with you. I don't think you're being petty at all, though. I think it's common courtesy, and it's a reasonable request. There's probably plenty of people in the townhomes who have one car and they have 2 parking spots, and if you talk with your neighbor, you might be able to work something out. You can rent their spot from them.
yeah,
Or-
and
is
I do
that what you
that.
guys do?
I
So-
do that with my neighbor, like if I have company who's coming, I'll like send her a message, I'll be like, hey, like, do you have anything going on, like, is it okay that, like, we park here, like, we're not gonna be here all night, you know, it's just, and, you know, majority of the time, as long as she doesn't have anything going on, she's like, okay. But I also understand that not everybody talks to their neighbors either.
Exactly. I think
So
that's a
like
lot
I,
of it.
you know, like, so I really totally get that, cause of everybody, I probably only talk to 2, maybe 1 when I see them at the mailbox. So I totally get that, you know, if you do, great, but if you don't, again, I don't know, just, those are just my 2 things, like, I just don't understand, like, those, like, white, you know.
A lot of it's common courtesy. You know?
Right,
Like
exactly.
I said, maybe a little mailing that gets people's attention about it, saying, hey, you know, I don't know if you realize or not, but you can't live in parking spots that mark visitors, and we, you know, common courtesy, you're blocking your neighbors out. Maybe then people just haven't thought to say, hey, do you have 2 cars and there's your spot's always empty? So a lot of that's trying to get people together, though. I think if more people knew each other and talked to each other, the townhome community's always been splintered out a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, there's a lot more, I don't know if it's camaraderie or rivalry or what going on in that sector out
I
there.
think
People know each other
a lot
better.
of those, you know, are rentals.
Transient lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly, so it's not like the homes where people, you know, they're there for, you know, the next 2 years. So I think that's kind of how it is, how it's been.
Well, and even if it's a rental, we still got an owner on record that we can notify and say, hey, you know, your renter's doing this, so we can start nailing them down and figuring out who the cars are that are doing it. It does take a little bit of concerted effort from us to figure out what cars are using those spots all the time. But if you're seeing the same cars over and over, kind of like you're doing, just kind of letting us know this is the same car, it's always parked in visitor parking, then we can try to figure out who that car belongs to, track it down, and find an owner for it, specifically notify them. I mean, it's something we could send a notification for, and we can do a fine for it if we have to.
And I just
Hate to
think,
get
you know,
out of
everyone have to be like that, it's just like, you know, but like, you just give people attention to be like, look, like, just have common courtesy for your neighbors.
Unfortunately, some people need the right to go to jail. So, you know, there's just those people in the world, you know. that just, you know, you can sit there and have conversations with them and be courteous, and they'll smile and say, I totally get it, and they'll keep doing what they want. So, you know, it might get to that point where
Yeah.
we tried all the nice ways, and now we're gonna go this route. So, definitely something that we can put on the radar, though, try to be a little more proactive about. Because now we don't have the trash issue there. It's like, it feels so much like, I feel like I'm breathing again.
Us too.
So us too.
Yeah.
I was starting to get where I was like this with the townhomes, you know.
It's much better. They come early and.
Yeah, he's been really great. It's
I
not-
have to put it out at night now.
It's
because
fixing to
every
go,
time I get
it's
down
fixing
the
to go
steps,
south on us.
he's gone. I had to run him down and look like.
Yeah, he said he noticed in the beginning people were like, whoa, 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 whoa.
It seems such shock.
So yeah, I'm glad that that's going better over there.
Yeah.
It's Mark is the name of the guy who owns that business, and he's got a very clear plan of how he wants to slowly grow within a region and earn business within the same area, and not just keep grabbing business from all over. So yeah, Carolina Disposal just fell apart.
Tell him we're pleased.
He just didn't know how to run a business. That's ultimately what it came down to. He was a nice kid. I talked to him on the phone multiple times. He just did not know how to run a business. And it's unfortunate because his grandfather had started the business, his dad had run the business. They handed it off to him, and he crashed it within like 6 months. So, just didn't know how to do it.
Do you think we might be able to get shrubbery this year?
Depends on depends on that budget. The landscaping budget's obviously getting chewed up very quickly as we're trying to figure out how to expand our services and get them taken care of. So I know she's got a little bit of landscaping projects, but we might start eating into that to be able to bring in a landscaper that can do a good job.
You know, you think I'd learn not to turn my damn computer off.
I know you
every
turn it
time.
off all the time. Is it stuff that's here?
I will, yeah, I will let you know what we have budgeted for shrubbery this year, yes ma'am, just give me 5 minutes.
So with that, if to help like offset like the budget, if individual homeowners wanted to, if you all got a quote of how much it would be for like shrubbery or to replace some of it, and they were willing to pay that cost, would that be something that you guys would be willing to look at?
Yes, with this caveat. You shouldn't have to pay extra money to put your normal.
Sorry.
Your normal. That just all blew up over there all of a sudden. You should not have to pay extra money to put in those shrubs and bushes. That's something that's soon be covered by the HOA. Now, there's plenty of people who've gone, you know, whatever, I'm just gonna put some flowers out here. The problem you run into there is if you put in a real nice rose bush, the rules and regulations of that say just because you put it in doesn't mean we're required to do anything to maintain it, and we're also not responsible if it gets damaged. You put your dryasman and your rose bush in, you're growing the beautiful roses, they come out and pressure wash everything, clean it, destroy your rose bush, now you're out again. Whereas if it's our plant, foreseeable.
And that's what I'm saying, like keeping within what is recommended from you all. So if you were gonna pay for it, that would be what it would be, you know? So if somebody's like, you know what, I just wanna have my,
You just want to put in your roses, or you want to put in a nice
no,
bush or
no,
something?
no. I'm saying like whatever you all would have put in anyways.
Gotcha.
Is what I'm saying. And, you know, you're saying like, look, if somebody did, if you guys wanted, you know, in your front yard not to look like the Sahara Desert, these are the bushes that we are that we recommend, that, you know, the landscaping company will continue to take care of. This is the price of it. And if those individual homeowners wanted to say, you know what, I just want to go ahead so it doesn't look so awful anymore, put towards that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess the answer is yes, but at the same time, you shouldn't have to. So let us see what the budget looks like and see if there's that money to cover it first. And then if it's getting to the point where you're like, look, I'm fed up, Rob, can I just put some bushes in? You know, what's it going to cost? And then we can come back and say, look, it's going to cost $300.
Yeah.
But I mean, I totally hate to see that somebody have to do that. You know, I mean, it's what you're already paying for every month. You're paying $1,500 a year, or $1,550, something like that, right?
Right.
And it's supposed to be included in there.
We've got 1,200 in this year's budget for shrub replacement. Not new, not
Their
new.
budget.
That's exactly what it becomes. We're on that beer budget trying to we have a Champaign neighborhood. You know, that $1,200 that get eaten up in 2 plants, and depending on some of the bushes and stuff.
Aren't they gonna have to research it though, because it appears to be the ones that they did try to replace, even with her, it died right out, you know. Mine struggled, but it kinda caught on.
Part of it
And
too is
started.
if if you buy a plant from Lowe's and put it in the ground and it dies, you take the dang thing back to Lowe's. So
Yeah.
why are we buying plants from Lowe's? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and that's, yeah, I think I'd be more apt though if somebody said, look, I got a green thumb, I'll plant the dang things myself, you know, and just be like, okay, fine, go to Lowe's, get some bushes and we'll pay you back, or we'll figure out, this is a budget you can spend per home or something. If we were going around saying, hey, look, you've got some plants that need to be replaced here, we're gonna come back and do it, but I don't know, I mean, we wanna find a good, and it's nice to hear that there's people who like, look, let's find a way to get things done, so, I think what we need to do is see what money we've got. Like I said, the problem is we know it's getting eaten up, but if that paint contract for the year comes in $10,000 under the forecasted budget, that might help open up some money for that. I mean, I get
I know
it.
they kept planning until September anyway, so that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, either early and it depends. I think most of the time they usually say you want to get plants in the ground kind of early in spring, which I mean now with all the rain we've had, that's probably the
Yeah,
perfect
you
time
could
to
get them
plant
in the
something.
ground now, and it would, they'd be able to set before it got too hot. You have to get them in the next month.
Everybody gets one bush.
Yeah, they put it out there, but it died. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like.
It's frustrating.
One, you know, they took off, one was just sitting there.
What, do you know what they planted? Was azalea or roses or,
It's regular green.
Like a boxwood type.
oh, boxwood, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're
Boxwood.
kind of round.
Yeah, I mean, they
Round
make
and
them
grow
different
together.
shapes. Little small leaves on them, waxy looking.
Waxy green leaf, yeah, I got a bunch of them out there.
Boxwoods.
I'll just dig one of mine up, bring it up.
I tore 3 out with my Tacoma. I tied straps to them and pulled them out of the ground. Gave them to somebody. Yeah, I mean, we wanted to do those things. We are constantly struggling, just trying to make sure we have the money to do things. It's one of those things where you feel like at times we're constantly saying, no, we can't do that. It's just the money. It's like,
Well, it comes down to it, when we set the budget at the end of the year, we're talking about, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and then we look and see how that balances out against what we're paying in our monthly assessments. And when you get down to it, you think, well, we've got to raise monthly assessments by 20% in order to pay for what we want. Then you start going, just like you do in your home budget, we start going back and slicing away, going, that, can't have that. We're not getting HBO this year, not getting Showtime, we're just gonna watch ESPN. So that's kind of what we do with the budget. I think maybe this next year, we or whatever board is setting when they form the next budget is gonna have to be a little more extravagant in some of the things we're gonna do with landscape.
yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, that's the thing is we don't have a lot of crazy things in Almond Glen. There's not, tennis courts and a Ferris wheel or something crazy. For the most part, we've got the pool that we do our very best to maintain, and we struggle there because again, we're chipping away at that budget, trying to get the lowest bid, trying to get the lowest amount of money, and then want somebody to say, well, the lowest bidder isn't always the best, option, and we don't have the money for anything else. So yeah, it's a struggle. We're definitely not buying $4,000 hammers and $70 boxes of pencils at the end of the year for our overall. Not like the U.S. government, we just throw money around. But yeah, it's a struggle. I mean, it sounds like we got a lot of money when you look at what's our yearly assessment, 200. If everybody pays, if everybody pays all their bills like they're supposed to in Almond Glen, we have $257,180 to work with, which sounds like a ton of money, but then you knock out 8% because they're not paying it. And we're having to go and take people's homes, which is starting to happen now, and that's gut wrenching, obviously. And then
We've got 187,000 in expenditures,
yeah,
so that leaves $70,000 to put in the reserve.
and the reserve amount is based off of,
It's based off the reserve study that we had done in 2013, we had redone last year. It says in 25 years, you need to have $850,000, plus the money that you've spent out of reserve. We should have $850,000 in reserves in 25 years.
and we've even chipped away at like our one extravagance, I would say, in the neighborhood is the social budget. It's $2,500. It's supposed to cover Easter egg hunt, pool opening party, 4th of July, back to school, a fall festival, Christmas and another thing of some sort, which is Yellow Nut. And those are like 200, 400. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but when we start looking at these things, and I'm talking about bushes with people, I'm going, well, if we cut out the social budget for the year, but then people come back and they say, well, why don't we ever do anything? It's like, well, I don't know, potluck it. That's what we did when we first got the neighborhood. So personally, I think I've been trying to go after that budget every.
Hey, Virginia's not here
Man,
today.
that's been, Virginia's not here to defend
I'm
herself
pro
on
vote, we can
this.
push this.
I am really eyeballing that social budget. But the problem is I might eyeball that social budget and be like, it's $2,500 I can use for town on landscaping, and then the pool pump blows up, and I'm like,
Move on along with your ones too.
the what now?
The movie that we had on the line.
Yeah, and that was actually brought in by Comporium, which, I mean, maybe I need to reach back out to Comporium and be like, hey, y'all wanna come in and do another one of your movie events? I got that lady's email someplace, so.
I send them enough money every month, they ought to.
And we use them as our service provider, and or maybe it was Spectrum, I can't remember who did that.
I think it was Conform that did it, 'cause they were trying to get into the neighborhood.
Which is crazy, because we already had Comporium. Comporium's like the,
I think someone that
Somebody-
worked for him moved in and then. went down.
maybe that's what it was. So yeah, like I said, we're struggling against it, but we're working on it. So that's townhome, social, pool, architectural, and budget. That pretty much covers all the
Just the conservation area.
things. What about the conservation area?
Find a company for that.
Who should we get to get an
I have no
engineer to come
idea.
in and check it out? I wouldn't, I don't know, how to- I mean, I'll try to track it down, but I don't know where to go to get it.
Ashley, can you see if there's any resources out there? It's we've got like a 30-40 foot retaining wall.
Down in the conservation area in the main part of the community that is actually scheduled in the reserve this year to spend $21,000 for inspection and repairs if necessary.
Then to go out and take a real good look at it and see what's going on with it. So,
I mean, I can walk down there and look at it and say it's fine.
as I say, wouldn't it be cool if somebody came in for like $5,000 and then checked it out and came back with a certificate and said it's all good?
Actually, it'd be even cooler if somebody came in for like $2,000.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna cost $5,000 to look at that thing for
So
30
it just
minutes.
needs to be inspected?
Yeah, just need, so we need it's gonna have to be a
I'll go
structural
down and
engineer.
inspect
Okay,
So,
all right.
Looks good.
what's the average hourly cost for a lawyer to meet with them and say, hey, what's up?
Depends on who you hire.
Exactly.
Apparently, Mecklenburg County traffic things you can get for as low as $50 for a representative.
Hey, it's a smorgasbord, man. I
Okay,
see
I'm
people
turning off
exchanging
my
money in the parking
computer
lot.
for the last time
Don't
tonight.
do it.
So, yeah, if you can see if there's any
I can do that, yes.
recommendations or anything.
Absolutely.
Anything else you guys got on your
Other
minds?
than Cynthia, I wanna thank you guys for acting real fast on fixing the fence in the back of our.
Thank you for taking the time to come here and
Yeah,
put
it's-
input and
we
stuff.
welcome input, because otherwise we just have to listen to Rob talk. We don't like it.
I'm
They
real
did a
good.
great
They
job.
did, I mean, they were right out there.
Well, I'm glad that they did it quickly. Honestly, I didn't even get the feedback. All I knew is that it must not be a problem anymore because I hadn't heard anything about it. So it's always good.
That's an elderly.
I think Tim hit me back when he first said what he was gonna have to do, and I was like, yeah, whatever. That sounds great. Get it done. So
I think I scared him because I walked up on him and said, what you doing?
good. Hold Tim accountable. Yeah, thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Actually, I'll send you the inspection stuff,
Thank you.
probably by Thursday. I'm just gonna go and clean it up. So I
Okay.
put, instead of just having like trash can, I put like where it
Take it.
is.
6 people?
I have
I'll take it, cut it.